Hello. Hello. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Uh, just coming to the topic. So today I'll be talking about this Ayurvedic management of alcoholic liver cirrhosis, a case study. Now we know alcoholic liver cirrhosis is on the rise. There are various causes of liver cirrhosis, out of which consumption of alcohol is one of the important positive factors. So this particular cause, as long as it is on, we cannot try to control the disease. Now, in this condition, as Ayurvedic people, how successful is the management? So this particular presentation is just an insight into the various aspects of treatment modalities that are given in our classical texts. So now with this particular background, I would like to discuss about a case. So he was a male patient aged about 40 years, a bachelor who studied law. He is coming from a well-to-do family and mostly sedentary. He is non-diabetic and non-hypertensive, but he is alcoholic from past 12 years. And there was a history of jaundice about 2 years back, as per the patient's statement. So the patient did not come with any reports related to the previous illness. So possibly we could not get a proper history as to the exact duration and the frequency of the attacks of jaundice. And at the moment of his presentation, he presented with symptoms like Aruchi, Agnimandya, Padashota, so swelling in the legs bilaterally. Even the face was swollen and there was a distension of the abdomen with the severe lack of appetite. On further interrogation, the patient was found to have a state of oliguria to anuria, so not having passed urine for almost past 12 hours. And on asking, he also said that the urine previously passed was almost reddish yellow or orange yellow in color. He was severely constipated and the stools was black and less in quantity. And he also had frequently disturbed sleep. Now, on the basis of his complaints, when we entered into the examination, it was found that the conjunctiva was muddy, or what we can consider it as a dusara pita netra. The tongue was moist but smooth and somewhat reddish yellow also. The foot, the legs that were swollen, so we can consider it under the category of piditonacha unnamati, that's a pitting edema. Even this particular pitting edema was observed in the upper limbs up to the elbow. And it's again the pitting nature of edema. And the abdomen, it was heavily distended and with some striations on the lateral part of the abdomen. And on percussion, it was dull. The umbilicus seemed to be averted, and there was Udaka Purnadhrati Sankshobatva, what we describe as the presence of a fluid thrill. So shifting dullness was also positive, and the liver was found to be enlarged. So 2 fingers enlargement below the costal margin. Now this is the initial photograph of the patient taken. So the abdominal girth at the level of umbilicus. Now this is in the lying down posture. We prefer to take the umbilical girth at the umbilicus when it drops due to gravity. So that's the area where you get the maximum dimension. So in the lying down posture on the bed, you can see from the left side of your screen. So the diagram shows that the flank is bulging out very predominantly. There's also a pitting nature of the edema. So on the right side, considerably the edema is more. And the level of edema was almost above the knee. The patient was weighing around 63.3 kilograms. So this was almost at the start of his treatment. So when he was admitted. Now, this particular, he was subjected to an ultrasound abdomen and pelvis, and also we asked the radiologist to do a scan of the chest as well. Now, that showed some amount of severe hepatomegaly with coarse parenchymal ecotexture. Now, we rely on these reports. We had only one piece of information from the patient with a previous report that he was diagnosed as cirrhosis of the liver in previous big academic institution or a hospital, and Then we went on with this particular investigation where we found that there was severe hepatomegaly and also there was very gross ascites and a tense ascites. So apart from that, there was no other significant portal hypertension or again enlargement of spleen. So all these was not found. And the radiograph of the chest, it showed some pleural effusion and there was some confusion related to the pleural thickening also could be reactionary. Now, based on all the presenting symptoms of the patient who gave a history of previous Kamala, that's the jaundice, being diagnosed with jaundice, we could go for a condition of Kumbha Kamala, that is the Sopadrava state of Sarvanga Shota, including the Udara Utseda. Now, once we make a diagnosis of Kumbha Kamala, essentially here the treatment modality is in accordance with the Samprapti. So likewise, in any case of disease, we have to go with Nidana Parivarjana. So if we believe that this alcohol was the cause for his particular condition because he was into severe alcoholism, and Nidana Parivarjana or stoppage of alcohol, that was what we took a promise from the patient before we started treating the patient. So patient was strictly asked to take an admission. And next, coming into the aspect of the line of treatment to be followed. So we had here three conditions to be considered. One was the Upadrava Rupi Shotha that was there almost in the entire body. So Sarvanga Shvayathu was the characteristic feature. Essentially, again, in the early stages when the Shota develops, we have to consider the amount of Samata also being affecting the Agni being affected very severely, the patient reluctant to take the food as well. So it was considered as a Sama Shota and the Chikitsa of the Sama Shota as described in the text like Langana, Pachana and Vishodhana Chikitsa to be administered continuously. So at the same time, along with this particular Sama Shota Chikitsa, the important aspect was to again restrict the Udaka. So again, the patient had Udara Utseda, Jalodara condition. And even in case of Jalodara also, the Padashvayatu also is described even in Pururupa and also in the Upadrava state as well, even in the Lakshana also. So essentially consider club together the treatments of Jalodara, the Sarvanga Shotha, the Samanya Shothas and also the Kamala also has to be given due importance as there was Pitata and all other features of Kumbha Kamala as well. Now, based on this, the initial thing was to set right the Samprapti Ghatakas. So the dosha consideration as the condition was essentially, Kumbha Kamala says that it is Kathoratam Upagatam. So there would be a hardness, and whether this is related to the organ, the liver, or it is related to the swelling, the nature of the swelling, that it is stubborn or so. Anything could be considered in this regard. So we have to give importance to the sthana of dushti also. So vata pitta being predominantly involved here, the chronic nature of the disease and the kamala being pitta predominant condition. Considering the rasa rakta dushti and also in Jalodhara we know that the sweda and the udakava srotas are grossly affected. So it was very important that this udaka srotas vimargadamana, what we consider tvang mamsantaram agamya, so that also has to be taken care of. So with an intention of clearing of this particular Sroto Dushti, initially it was planned to cleanse the primary sites of the doshas. So the Ashayas here, mainly the Amashaya, Pakvashaya, because again the Dushti is mainly in lines of Prana, Agni, Apana and Sandushya. So Prana, Apana, Dushti, you have to set right the state of Agni, along with that Vatanulomana, and then pranasya vilomato also has to be prevented, as the patient initially when he presented there was some amount of shwasa kashtata also, though it may be an arohana ayasa. So we started with the mild form of shodhana in the form of ichabedi rasa 120 mg with the patola katurohinya adi kashaya 50 ml, which was administered in the early morning at 6 a.m. And about initially the patient with this particular medicine had about 4 to 5 loose stools before 9 a.m. So starting almost about 45 minutes after the administration. And then even at around 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, he used to have liquid stools. At 9 a.m., we started with the Deepana treatment in the form of Ardraka Guda, as referred in the Shota Adhikar also, widely appreciated in the case of Jalodhara, Sakamala also. So we went on with the Ardraka Guda in the Vardhamana Prayoga, starting with 5 grams each, increased every day again with 5 grams, so reaching 50 grams of each by the 10th day, and then the intention was to maintain it for another 10 days and then gradually taper it off so that we finish a course of 1 month. But however, the patient could not tolerate it beyond 5 days. The maintenance dose was given for 5 days and then progressively decreased to end at the 25th day. So after administration of Ardraka Guda, the patient was waited for the development of symptoms of appetite. So initially 3 to 4 days, the patient did not have any symptoms of feeling hunger. But gradually then the appetite started improving. And then when he requested for something to eat or to drink, we administered Godugda. So 200 ml, initially starting with 100 ml, we slowly increased it to 200 ml per dose, and it was usually then later conditions it was given almost an hour after administering the Ardraka Guda. So this Godugda was given 5 to 6 times. Now in the classical references also, if we look into the concepts of Jalodhara Chikitsa, it is advocated to be on Kshira, diet of Kshira almost for 6 months, only milk, no water and not even rice. Anna also is to be avoided. Then for another 3 months, the administration of rice of milk with peya, and then for the next 3 months, administration of anna with milk is recommended, so that the patient has to complete 1 year of treatment only with milk. Now here we went on for this particular protocol. The patient kept only on Godugda, no water or not even any other foods or fruits was given to the patient. In the form of Shamana, taking care of the sthana also, we went on with the proprietary medicine of Muni Leave, 500 mg twice, administered in the noon and the night. And also tablet Muni Prabha, which is a proprietary product, again modified form of the Chandra Prabhavati, 500 mg twice, noon and night. And the Punarnavashtaka Kashaya, it was started 15 days after, that is the Icha Bedi along with the Patola Katurohini Adi was given for the initial 15 days. And later on, we shifted to Punarnavashtaka Kashaya, 50 ml morning, empty stomach. This Patola Katurohini Adi Kashaya, we had given 30 ml bedtime for the next 15 days. So Dashanga Lepa application also, as it is recommended in case of Shwayatu. And also here it was applied over the Udara and the Pada or the Sakti. So the lower limb up to the level of the swelling above knee, and then the abdomen, the Shanga Lepa was applied. Now the initial recovery up to the 1 month, the patient was in the hospital for almost 32 days. And here you see that the abdominal girth is reduced. So the yellowishness also, the bilirubin levels also have reduced. The weight dropped from 63 kilograms to 59.2 kilograms. The pitting edema also has reduced, but on the right hand of your screen, you can see that above the ankle, just below the dark pigmentation, you can see that there is a pitting edema. So pitting edema was present almost 3 inches above the ankle. So some amount of erythematous rashes were also present over the upper part of the chest. And the characteristic discoloration, what we usually find in this case of the Kumbhakamala or the cirrhosis condition also, we could see in the patient. So the normal palm is compared with that of the patient. So now on discharge, on the 22nd of June, the patient was administered, was advised to continue Muni Leave 500 mg twice daily, morning and night, and tablet Punarnava Mandora 250 mg twice daily, morning and night. Along with that, Patola Katurohinyadi Kashaya 50 ml with the Gomutra Bhavita Haritaki, what we call as this Gomutra Haritaki. It was self-prepared and administered in a dose of 3 grams early in the morning. And this intention was here again to remove the Udakavaha Sroto Dushti and also the Kleda in the body. Then the Pathya Ahara in the form of avoiding drinking water. So plain water as such, Jala was totally avoided. The patient was asked to avoid. Instead, he could consume Kshira whenever he felt thirsty or hungry. He could consume Kshira, but that also was restricted to about 1000 to 1200 ml. So as long as the patients stay in the hospital, we had maintained it at around 1000 ml. So his urine output until it improved. So by day 18 or so, the urine output crossed the input. And after that, there was a drastic improvement in the relief in the Udara Utseda as well as the pedal edema state. And then if he felt hungry, he was advised to take Mudga Yusha with rice, 50 grams, a small cup in the afternoon, and again maintain or look for the input output. Now, after later when he came for the follow-up after 10 days, so on the July 2nd, the abdominal girth was further reduced as seen in the photograph, 86.5 centimeters measured at the umbilicus. The weight was just reduced by 200 grams, that's all. Previously 59.2, now 59 kilograms. The edema was, however, pitting very mildly at the ankle. So this is again the Shangalepa application over the abdomen that the patient was asked to do again at the home. So the investigations on this 2nd of July. So hepatomegaly with coarse echotexture and surface nodularity. So chronic parenchymal liver disease. The ascites is again, as per the report, it is gross. But however, here again, because of elimination of concentrated urine, we find that there is renal calculi also. But however, no evidence of any splenomegaly was present. I got it logged out automatically. Or my voice is still going. Launch again. So then the bilateral renal calculi was also found. Here again, pleural effusion was minimal. It had reduced by July. Again, in the month of September, we went in for a review again, though we had plenty of reviews in between. The abdominal girth reduced to 83 centimeters and weight improved. The weight started improving now here. It was increased to 61 kilograms. So with the eyes, however, you can still see that the muddy conjunctiva, the yellowish nature is still there, the turbid conjunctiva. There was no dependent pitting edema, however. The pitting edema was cleared. In September, so the hepatomegaly, again, the state was almost the same, though liver was slightly reduced by 0.5 centimeters. And the ascites was minimal and there was no pleural effusion. So the renal calculi, there was bilateral, but the pleural effusion was minimal and it's reduced. And we confirmed it with the radiograph also that the pleural effusion is cleared. So X-ray radiography report shows normal study. Now the course of treatment further continued was water restricted to 1000 ml per day. And now again, in case of Shota Adhikar also, initially it is described that in case of Rukshana or Ruksha induced Shota, especially like Vataja, you have to go with the Snehapana. Now considering the Bahukleda Avastha, initially we did not go for the Grata, though we could have gone because appetite was weak, we didn't start with Grata. So after the Kledata had reduced drastically or significantly, we started with Kalyanaka Grata 25 ml morning, Shamana dosage, empty stomach. It was continued for almost 3 months. And on digestion of the Sneha, after almost 1 to 1.5 hours, the patient was asked to take Anna with milk or Kshirabuk with a small cup or 100 grams. In the noon, out of Yava, that is Ragi, 100 to 150 grams with Mudgayusha. And at night, again, 250 ml of milk was advised. The Muniliv tablet 500 mg twice daily, and Arogya Vardhini we switched over now because we wanted some form of Shodhana in the form of Katuki because it is an excellent tonic and good for recovery and also maintaining the bowel movements also. other benefits are also there. We started with 120 mg twice daily. And Bhumi Amlaki Kashaya, the patient was asked to make fresh Bhumi Amlaki Kashaya at home, 50 ml twice daily. And this was used as an anupana for the other tablets. Then weekly Shodhana, he was asked to take Triphala Kashaya 50 ml with Eranda Taila 10 ml on Sundays. On the day, that particular day, Kalyanaka Grata was not advised. Now, if you look at the various profiles, the biochemical hematological parameters, initially we see here that the total bilirubin from 5.4 gradually it reduced to almost 1.6. So almost that happened in the 3rd of November. So it took a pretty long time for the slow and sustained recovery to go on. And the total bilirubin also, which was 2.6, it reduced to 1. So we can see the graph again, which shows the improvement over a period of time. The serum protein profile also, the total protein initially 6.2, again raised to 7.4. And the reversed albumin globulin ratio, it again almost restored close to normalcy, though not exactly normal on the 3rd of November. So 3.9 and 3.5. So albumin on the higher side, globulin on the lower side. So initially we can see that the globulin went on rising with the treatment. So the liver enzymes, the SGOT, initially 137, it reduced to almost 48, the near normal level, and the SGOPT did not get much altered. The alkaline phosphatase initially 195. In between, there was a very high spike raised to 449. But then we had repeated the ultrasonography, which did not show a significant obstruction. It reduced to 172, near normal level on the 3rd of November. The renal function tests also, the blood urea was significantly low on the lower side here, possibly due to an imbalance in the protein mechanisms also. So 18, it rose to 30 because we put the patient on predominant milk and Mutga green gram diet. And the uric acid levels, initially 3.6, also increased to 5.8 again because of the protein diet. The creatinine, however, was maintained stable at around 0.8. The hemoglobin also was almost maintained constant in spite of a very strict diet being followed. The blood sugar, initially 146 on the day of admission, it came back to normal levels on 120. The 3rd of November, the patient was asymptomatic. He had improved. Sorry, I do not have a photograph of that particular day. And he was permitted normal food with certain restrictions, that is oily food and alcohol he had to avoid totally. The abdomen was almost scaphoid and the liver was just palpable at the costal margin. The weight had increased to 67 kilograms, which was again a very healthy sign of his improvised appetite and his metabolic process. He was further advised to continue the tablet Muniliv 500 mg twice daily and to start with the Rasayana in the form of Shuddha Shilajitu 1 gram with the Triphala Kashaya 50 ml in the morning on an empty stomach, and followed by again Kshira Bhojana for the morning. So Shilajitu also is a highly recommended drug in case of Shvayatu also. And the patient is coming for routine follow-ups, regular follow-ups once in 3 to 6 months or depending upon the condition. So he is doing fine till the date. Now here again, we go with the principles again of Ayurveda that though we make a diagnosis of Kupa Kamala, again the reports, if it suggests a mere reversal of bilirubin or of the protein levels, it is not significant because we have to consider the various functional aspects of the liver. So not only the processing of bilirubin, but also the synthetic functions of the liver and the enzymatic assessments which indicate the damage or an inflammatory ongoing process in the liver. So even that has to come back to normalcy. So the patient's edema condition was completely relieved. Bowel habits are normalized. Urine output was better above 1 liter per day. But however, patient was asked to restrict some water intake towards the evening hours. And the patient is doing well. Recently also he had about a month back, he was here for the follow-up. And so the word for the day to end the talk is Ayurvedo Amritanam, that justifies that yes, in case of cirrhosis of liver, that too alcoholic. Now, because I have chosen only about alcoholic liver cirrhosis, as long as the patient is willing to give up alcohol, yes, we have a cure we have a relief, and we know Kumbha Kamala is described as an asadhya condition. So if the patient is having good sattva bala, agni bala does improve, then of course we give amrita to the patient. The patient can be restored to his normal routine life. And whatever we practice is all described in the text of Ayurveda. So Ayurvedopadesheshu Videyaha Paramadaraha. So thanking you for your patient listening.